Okay. Just for the schedule, tomorrow I am teaching in the shul at 5:15, and we're also having a shir at 8:45 by Zoom, 8:45 p.m. Let's say Shabbos.
Okay.
Okay.
Ernie, can we have 8:30? Shabbos is out at 8 o'clock.
We can do it at 8:30. Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's do 8:30, okay?
8:30, no problem.
No problem, Walter. Whatever
Okay.
you want.
Thank you very much.
8:30 works good.
Okay.
So we are learning the sugya of Beitzah Shenoldu Bezu Aser Bezu, and Abaya said, why is it Gzeira Mishum Peres HaNoishrim? We said an egg that is born that day, it's Aser like fruit that falls from the tree. You're not allowed to pick up fruit that fell from the tree because my Gzeira Shema Yalav Idlosh. If we allow you to pick up fruit that fell from the tree, you'll come and climb a tree and be toilishit. So the Gemara says, well, that's a double degree gzeira. He gufa gzeira. The whole Paris HaNoishrim is a gzeira itself, but I make him an gzeira, and we're making a gzeira on top of a gzeira. Well, says no, kulachad gzeira. When they made the gzeira of Paris HaNoishrim, they considered a beitzah as part of that. So it was one gzeira, it wasn't like a gzeira, they made a new gzeira. Harold, we're on Gimel Amud Aleph.
Got it. Thanks.
And we are learning in shul tomorrow at 5:15 because the rabbi.
Oh, good.
Rabbi speaking at 6 o'clock.
Okay, good.
We have to move it up. Okay. Rav Yitzchak Omer Gzeir Mishum Mashkin Serzovu, a different gzeira. That juice that emanates, let's say, from a grape. So you're not allowed to eat it on Yontif because you might come to squeeze the grape.
The MLB ballpark app will complete your next visit.
What's the problem? Because you might come to squeeze the grape. He goof gzeira. The squeezing the grape is a gzeira. Excuse me. The not being able to eat the fluid that emanates, and now the beitzah, you've extended the gzeira to a beitzah. Not nekam the nixer gzeira. Again, the verse says kulachad gzeira. When they made the gzeira of fluid coming out, they considered the egg coming out as well. Now we got a number of explanations as to why an egg born that day cannot be used that day. Rav Nachman said because of muktzah. Well, we asked Kashus on that, Kikushi, and we said if it was going to be a muktzah, why did you argue about the egg? You could have argued about the chicken itself. So that's why they didn't hold like Rav Nachman. Rabba had a problem of if a beitzah is meichin for the other day, so they don't hold of achana. They don't hold of the svar of achana is osir midaraisa. The question is, Rav Yosef, my time Lamak Rav Yitzchak. Why did Rav Yosef, who said Peres HaNoishrim, why didn't he hold like Rav Yitzchak, who talked about fluid? Shazavu. You know what? Since an egg is food and fruit is food, fluid is not food. So I would rather, if I'm going to learn a comparison, I'd rather learn it food to food and not food to mashke. Rav Yitzchak, my time along with Rav Yosef. And why didn't Rav Yitzchak learn Peres HaNoishrim? A beitza is like absorbed within the body of a tarnacle. Umashkin bluin. And fluid is also absorbed within the fruit. A fruit is, you can see a fruit sitting on a tree. So according to Rav Yitzchak, it was more appropriate to compare an egg to a fluid that is zov. Okay, Johnny, again, we're going to be learning tomorrow in the shul at 5:15. And we're also going to have a Zoom at 8:30.
Okay, thank you.
V'af Rav Yochanan Savar, Gzer Mishum Mashkin Shezovu.
And I didn't hear you. What time did you say the Zoom is tomorrow night?
Tomorrow's 8:30 p.m.
What time tomorrow night is the Zoom? I did. Okay, thank you.
8:30.
Thank you. I didn't hear it.
8:30.
Yeah, no, okay, I hear it now.
Yeah, V'af Rav Yochanan Savar, that the Gzeira of a Beitzah being noiled, and you're not allowed to eat it, is Mishum Mashkin.
Where'd you put the diapers?
You have like Rav
What?
Yitzchak related to Mashkin. Where do we see this? Rav Yochanan, Rami, Rav Yehuda, Rav Yehuda. Rav Yochanan showed a stira in Rav Yehuda, and the way he resolved it, we'll see that Rav Yochanan holds that the Gzeira of Beitzah is because of Mashkin. Tanan, we see in the Mishnah like this. Ein soichtin es aperes lotzi mehen Mashkin. You cannot squeeze peiros to take fluid out of it on Shabbos. V'im yotzu me'atzman asurim. If they came out on their own, you're not allowed to use it. Rabbi Yehuda Omer depends. If this fruit has been designated la'achila, im la'oichlin, hayotzi mehen mutter, then any fluid that comes out of it, which is going to be consumed, like you have grape and grape juice comes out of it. Forget about grape. Let's say people eat orange, or let's say apples. People normally eat apples. So therefore, if some juice flows out of the apple, that's permitted. However, im lamashkin, if, for example, normally grapes, the whole point of grapes is for fluid, then ayotze mehen osir. Alma kol oichlin Rabbi Yehuda uchla de ifrasu. Comes out, any kind of food that comes out of a food according to Rabbi Yehuda is considered food. It's not a new Michael. It's part of the original food. Since you designate it for food, the fluid is also food. However, v'reminu, we show you a stira from another Rabbi Yehuda, the Odam Rabbi Yehuda. Masne Odam al kalkala shel peres biyontav rishon, v'ochlo b'shem. A person has a basket of fruits, and he did not take trumas and meisers from it. You're not allowed to take trumas and meisers on Yontif. So what Rabbi Yehuda says, if you're on the first and 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, on Yontov Rishon of Rosh Hashanah, you say, he held that the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah were 2 Kedushos. So he held that he said, if today is Rosh Hashanah, tomorrow is Chol. And if today is Chol, then it's tomorrow's Rosh Hashanah. So either way, he can make it tonight like that. The ochla b'sheni, either way, end up eating it on the second day. V'chein beitzah shenolda b'rishon te'ochel b'sheni. In a similar vein, it's not a kedusha achas. An egg born on the first day of Rosh Hashanah can be eaten on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. B'sheni in b'rishon lo. Now, if originally we said if Rabbi Yehuda held that fluid that comes out of oichel is considered oichel, so you should be able to eat it on the same day. So U'Mishan Rabbi Yehuda Muchlefes Ashita. In the Yom Tov Sheni, that sugya, you have to switch the shitas. Chachamim hold that you're allowed to make it bad. Rabbi Yehuda says you can't. U'Minikom Lo Adodi, and because he switched it, it's Shmami no Chataimu. It's clear that it's also because of this Gzera Mashkin. But Ravina Amar Loilam Loy Tepach. You don't have to switch the shitas. But rather, Rabbi Yehuda L'Divreim Rabbanon Korma Lahu. Rabbi Yehuda was speaking to the Rabbanon. Lididi en Chanami and Filibrisha Nami Shari. According to my shita, it's considered food. It was designated for food. The fluid come out of it is considered food. You can even eat it on the same day. Admit to me at least, because of, well, either today is Yontif, tomorrow's Chol, or today is Chol, tomorrow's Yontif, it still should be permitted, certainly tomorrow. Because he held the Shtei Kedushas. Because Rabbi Yehuda held that regarding Rosh Hashanah, the reason why you have 2 days is because of Sveika de Yom, and it's 2 Kedushas. The Amri Le Rabbana, no, Kedusha Achasi. Rosh Hashanah is not considered like other Yomim Tovim. It's not Sveika de Yom. Even Bisman Bezdin, they did it 2 days. It depends if the Eidim came too late, like we're going to learn in Rosh Hashanah. And therefore it's 1 Kedusha, so therefore Beitzah Shenol de Bezu would be also even on the next day. Ravina Brei Ravulo Amar, a different reason for why a Beitzah Nol de Bezu is Osir Bezu. This is a chicken that was designated to lay eggs. Rabbi Yehuda Tamedi is le muktzah. And Rabbi Yehuda is consistent that he holds of muktzah. So an egg that comes out of something that is muktzah cannot be eaten. It's also muktzah. Meisvei. Echad beitzah shenolda b'Shabbos, v'echad beitzah shenolda b'Yontif. An egg born on Shabbos, an egg born on Yontif is muktzah. Ein metalta nosa. Lo lechasos posa kli, you can't use it to cover a kli. V'lo lismach bo kayamita, you can't lean a bed against it. Aval koifa leasa kli, you can take a kli and cover it so that it won't break by stepping on it. Usfeika asura, and if it's a suffix whether it is Beitzah Shenol de Bezu or not, it's still usur. That means we are machmir by a suffix. Not only that, if that egg that is a suffix, nis arva be'elef, got mixed up with 1,000 eggs, kulan asuros, they all remain usur. Now, Bishma Rabba Damar Mishumachana, Rabba explained that there's an Isser Deraisa going on here, that you're mechin from one day to the other. You're not allowed to be mechin Shabbos to Chol or Yontif to Chol. So then the Isser is a Deraisa. And if you're not sure which day it was born, obviously Sveika Deraisa. And we know the principle called Sveika Deraisa L'chumra. Whenever you have a suffix, if it's a Torah law, we go L'chumra. That's why it would be Osir even if Be'elef. Well, we'll have to explain that, or if that's why it's Osir, even if it's a Taruvis. And Rav Yosef, Rav Yitzchak, the Ami Mishum Gzeira, remember, Rav Yosef, Rav Yitzchak said that a Beitzah Shenolda is Osir because either Gzeiras Peres HaNoishrim or Gzeiras Mashkin. Well, that's clearly a Gzeira. Sveika de Rabbanani, because Sveika de Rabbanan Lakula. If you have a rabbinic law and it's a suffix, we go lakula. So why here are we machmir? Amri lacha, we answer, you know what? Here we're not talking about suffix whether it was born today. Seifek ason suffix treifa. Maybe they thought the egg came from a treifa animal, which is an Isser Min HaTorah, which of course then we understand why the suffix would be lechum. Yihachi freiti gemara ema seifa nisarva be'elef kulan asuros. What did we say? We said that if it got mixed up with 1,000, it remains asur. Now, let's remind ourselves the principle of batul barov. So, batul barov is 1 versus 2. It's already batul. And even if you're going to say that you need 60, so beyond 60, it certainly should be batul. It has to do whether it's min b'mino, min b'sheno mino. But at the worst situation, it's never going to be worse than batul b'shishim. Why should it be not batul be'elef? Min HaTorah, if you have 1 versus 2, it's already batul barov, because achrei rabim lahatos. So, Iyamrit Bishma Safik Yontif Safik Chol. Now, if it was not a Beitzah Treifa, but it's a question whether it was today or tomorrow, was it Yontif or not? Well, Havi Davar Sheyesh L'Matirin. Something that we just wait. It's only usher today. Tomorrow will be permitted. Because you'll say, well, either today was Chol, or we'll say today's Yontif and tomorrow certainly Chol. So an Isser that is a Davar Sheyesh L'Matirin, that the Isser can be removed over time, so if it's a suffix in Yontif or not Yontif, it would be classified under something that is a Davar Sheyesh L'Matirin. And one of the examples of things that are not bottle, even 1 in 1,000, is Davar Sheyesh L'Matirin. However, it's Davar Sheyesh as a Treifa, it can never be corrected. Therefore, it's not a Davar Sheyesh L'Matirin. Therefore, that's something that normally is Batal Barov. Davar Sheyesh L'Matirin Batal Baruba. And it should be Mavatal Barov. Why do you say Afilu Bel of Loy Batal? So now we're going back to the Sugi of Taruvis. Another example of something that's not Batal Afilu Be'elef is Davar Chashuv. So are you going to tell me that an egg is a davar chashuv? So hanich leman davar kol shadar limono shaninu. So there's a machlokas which we're going to learn today regarding what is considered a davar chashuv. One mandamar holds that if the item is sold sometimes by number, for example, a dozen eggs. When you buy something, a dozen don't. When you buy something by number, as opposed to, for example, I'll buy a kli worth of this, or I'll buy a pound worth of this. That refers to something that's not that chashuv. But if you're going to buy it, like I buy per avocado, that shows that it's a davar chashuv. Now the question is it only sold that way or sometimes sold that way? So there is an opinion that holds, even if something is occasionally sold by count, and an egg is certainly something that occasionally is sold by number, and occasionally is sold by volume, by like I'll buy a kli worth. Now, according to the Mandar that says since occasionally it's sold by number to davar chashuv, so now I understand the Baraisa that says afilu be'elef loy batal. Ela l'mandar eshadar kalimon shaninu. But according to the opinion, where what a davar chashuv is, it's something that every time it's sold by count. And if there are ever examples where it's not sold by count, it's not a davar chashuv, then an egg doesn't qualify as a davar chashuv. And then why should you require bittul be'elef? Ma'ik le'meimer. Now, where do we see this machlokes? It's not. Mishaylu chavile tilsa shel klai keren. A person has a bunch of fenugreek that grew in a vineyard where there's an isser of klai keren, and it's asur banoah. The din is yidlaku. You have to burn it because you can't derive benefit from it. Nisarvu b'acherus v'acherus b'acherus kulan yidlaku. Those chavilim got mixed up with others, and those others got mixed up with others. There's no bittul. Kulan yidlaku d'liv Meir. The chachamim oimrim yalu b'achas u'masai. Normally, klai keren is mevatel 1/200. So Rav Meir, for some reason, holds there's no bittul by this. Why? Shai Rav Meir oimer esher darko limonos mekadesh. Rav Meir held any item that is at any time counted in number becomes puzzle and there's no bittul. However, there are only 6 examples where there's no bittul. And Rabbi Kiva Omer Shiva, Eluim, Egoze Perach, there's like a walnut, a special kind, the rimone bad in certain types of pomegranate, the chaviot stumos, sealed barrels of wine, the chilfe trade-in, these are like cabbages, the kilche kruv, udlas yavonis, Greek gourds, Rabbi Kiva Moisef Avki Korshel Balabatim, even loaves of bread made by Balabatim. In each one of these categories, haroila orla, if it's a fruit where it's going to be also the first 3 years, that's what we're talking about. Haroila klak kerem, the vegetables which can grow in klak kerem. The itmer Allah Rav Yochanan Amar, eshadar limonos shaninu. Rav Yochanan said that when Rav Meir said there's no bittul, it's only things that are, they have to be sold by count all the time, not only some of the time. And Rish Lakish Amar kol shadar limonos. Even if occasionally they're sold by count, it's still considered choshuv. Hanichel Rish Lakish. So that's why we understand by an egg is sometimes counted by count and sometimes counted by volume or weight. So Rish Lakish would understand that would be afilu be'elef loy batel. El Rav Yochanan, that's got to be only counted by count in order to be considered a chashuv. Michael and Meimar, we go back to our case. We don't understand why should it be afilu be'elef loy batel. Amar Rav Papa, so Rav Papa explains that Tana is a different Tana. That's the Tana de Litrik Tsiosu. The Tana of the famous mission of a certain amount of figs. The Omar called Dover Shebeminyan afilu b'Rabbanan like Batul. That anything that is sold by count, even a rabbinic isser is not bought. The culture came to Raisa. Where do we see the source of this din? This not. Litra k'tir shadar sal pi eagle. You pressed figs on the top of a barrel. Ve'eni yodeh be'ezeh eagle darsa. You lost count exactly which one is yours. Or an eagle is like a round mouth of an instrument where that you normally press figs. Or al pi chavis, or you did it on the top of the barrel, you didn't know which one, you lost track. Or al pi kaveris, on a beehive, ve'eni yodeh be'ezeh kaveris darsa. So Rab Meir Oimer, Rab Eliezer Oimer, roinas el yonis ki ilune frutos. And they're going to give us their accounting of how you decide which one is batel and which is not. Based on that, we'll see why that Tana supports the concept that even if it's a suffix beitzah, afilu be'elef loy batel. This will continue tomorrow.
Yeah.
Good Shabbos.
So,
Good
good Shabbos,
Shabbos.
everybody. Tomorrow, 5:15 in Shul, 8:15.